alaikum and welcome to the Free Legal Advice Show on British Muslim TV. I'm your host, Ilyas Bulbulia, and I'll be with you for the next hour. As our regular viewers are aware, the Free Legal Advice Show provides you, our viewers, the opportunity to call in and ask us any questions that you have on any aspect of English law. On this show, I should be able to cover a vast, diverse range of matters. Matters ranging from immigration law matters, family law matters, criminal law matters. So whatever your questions are, please feel free to ring on the number that appears at the bottom of the screen. Two ways you can get in touch with us. You have the landline number 01924 231 083, landline number if you want to speak to me live on air. Or alternatively, if you want to send us a WhatsApp message or a text message with your query, you can do that on the mobile number that appears at the bottom of the screen. Appreciate that sometimes legal queries are quite confidential. People don't necessarily want to come on air live to discuss their confidential matters. So a fantastic, easy way of getting in touch with us is to simply send us a message on that mobile number. Now, just a couple of very minor points before we get going. Obviously, on a live show, it's not possible to take very detailed information from viewers who call in. If it transpires that your matter is quite complex and I need to have a very in-depth discussion with you, then I will ask you to leave your number with the control room and then we can have that in-depth discussion later on off air. Likewise, if it transpires that I need to look at your documents before I can advise you. Sometimes this happens with immigration law matters where we're talking about somebody who's received a refusal and the viewer wants me to have a look at the refusal letter. So if it's the case that I need to look at your documents before I can advise you properly, so if I need to speak to you in depth or I need to look at your documents before I can advise you, I'll ask you to leave your number with the control room and then I will have a look at the documents and have a discussion with you off air. And this is the Free Legal Advice Show. Any advice that we provide off air following me having that more thorough discussion with you or following me having a look at your documents, again, is part of the free legal advice that we provide, part of the Free Legal Advice Show. Now, just before we've come on air, we've had a number of questions coming in already on WhatsApp, which is fantastic. And what I will do is start with some of those questions that have been coming in, some interesting questions that have been coming in already on that mobile number. But as always, if you want to speak to me live, you can do so by calling the landline number. Okay, let's look at some of the queries that have come in on WhatsApp. First question that's come in, let me just read the question out. Our viewer says, "Hi, I am Roshni." And the question is, what visa is available now for Indian passport holders in order to settle here in the United Kingdom? So Roshni, our viewer, is asking, what visa is available for Indian nationals, Indian passport holders, who want to settle here in the United Kingdom? Interesting question, and it does require me to go into a bit of detail. But let me just take the first call for the day and then return to this, and I'll deal with this in depth after I've taken the first call. Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, brother Ilyas. We're just a bit worried about how my spouse visa.
Okay.
I submitted it online in February this year.
Okay.
They sent me a message that the decision has been made in March.
Okay.
But I've not received my passport.
Okay. Now,
the passport.
Okay. So if I just go back then, in terms of the biometrics that were done.
Yes.
When were the biometrics done? When were the
biometrics was done in February.
February. Yep. Okay.
Last week of February.
Last week of February. When did you get the email from the Home Office about the visa application?
In March, last week of March.
Last week of March. So you've got the email within about a month of the fingerprints being done?
Yes.
Okay, all right, okay. Did you use the priority service at all? I don't know whether it was available.
Yes, in Pakistan we did, in Lahore.
Okay, so you did use the priority service, yeah?
Yes.
So, you know, the extra fees, did you pay the extra fees at the visa centre, on the visa centre
Yes,
website?
in Lahore, yes.
In Lahore. Okay, I understand. And that's why they were able to give you a quick decision. Now, obviously, the decision's now been made. Did you get a message saying that your passport has been sent to the visa centre? Did you get that message at all? No.
No.
Okay. So, you know the message that you got, what did it say precisely? Can you
It precisely said that decision has been made.
Okay.
And the people in Lahore will contact you when your passport will be ready for collection.
Okay, all right. Now, just one question, and I think I know what the answer is, because the application would have been submitted under the old system. So the passport was handed in at Lahore?
Yes.
Wasn't given back?
No.
Okay, all right, because now what they're doing is giving the passport back because of the current situation in Pakistan. Right. Now, the only thing your wife can now do in relation to this, and this is what I've advised clients as well, is just simply go to the visa centre in Lahore.
Yes.
I don't know how far the visa centre is from where your wife is, but the only solution to this is if you haven't received an email or a message from the visa centre in Lahore, the only thing you can do to find out really what's going on is for your wife to go there and say, look, I've got the message saying the application's been processed. Have you got my passport?
Yes. I have. She has been.
Okay, all right.
And they're saying that we don't know when you will get the passport.
All right, okay.
Not very helpful.
Not very helpful at all. Now, to be quite honest, if you got the decision around the end of March, at that stage, was Pakistan on the red list at that stage?
No.
See, I don't understand them. I mean, to be honest, we've had clients who've actually got their passports back. Even in the last couple of weeks, they've had the passport back, even after Pakistan went on the red list. Now, my concern was the moment Pakistan went on the red list, what the Home Office will do is they'll process the application, they'll tell you a decision's been made, but not release the passport. I thought that's what's going to happen. But in the last couple of weeks, clients have been given the passports back. They've gone to the visa centre, they've collected the passport. And certainly in March, Pakistan wasn't on the red list. So your wife should have received the passport back. Now, realistically, what can you do? Now, if your wife's been there, and normally that sorts matters out, it hasn't sorted matters out. The only thing you can do is the Home Office has a contact number. Have you tried to contact them on the contact number? It looks like you've tried everything. Okay, so what did they say when you called on the contact number?
Well, I went to my MP, and they contacted the Home Office, and they said that you give us 5 working days, we'll come back to you. And they said exactly what the email was, that we've made the decision. We can't tell you what we've made the decision on, but the people in Pakistan, Lahore,
will contact you in due course.
Yeah.
To be quite honest, I mean, you've done what you can do at this stage. Wife's been to Lahore. I would have said contact the Home Office directly, but you've done one better, which is that you've been to the MP, and the MP's now made inquiries. To be quite honest, at this stage, apart from that, you can't do anything else. If you want to push matters a bit more, there's 2 things you could do. One is on the Home Office website, there is a online form that you can complete to make an inquiry with the Home Office. You could complete the online form, but you've done more than that. You've been to the MP already, okay? But you've got nothing to lose by completing the online form and say, look, I've not had the passports back. That's what you can do now. Second thing you can do is, let's say in about 3 to 4 weeks' time, if your wife doesn't still get the passport back, you go back to the MP and say, look, it's now been 3 months since you said a decision has been made. My wife still hasn't received the passport. Can you push them again? They're the 2 things you can do. The only thing I would do is keep your eye out for a slight change in procedure that might come in. If Pakistan remains on the red list, I think what the Home Office might do is stop returning passports until it comes off the red list. That might happen. It hasn't happened yet. So practically, brother, all you can do is complete the online form. In 3 to 4 weeks' time, go back to the MP and push the MP. To be quite honest, apart from that, there's nothing else you can do.
The other concern that I have, because they're not issuing, is it 90-day visa?
That's not a problem as such, because if the Vignet, if it expires, you can simply apply for it to be replaced. That's not a problem.
And how long does that normally take?
Within about a month, you get the replacement Vignet. That's not a problem.
So, are you suggesting I do the online form?
And then in about 3-4 weeks' time, go back to the MP as well.
Yeah, and go back to the agent in law.
Yeah, I mean, she could try to go back to Lahore, but I don't think the passport's there. Online form, and then just to go back to the MP again to get them to push them along.
Where is the passport? Does that passport come back to UK or does it come to Islamabad?
It's what the process used to be is that the passport used to go to the Middle East, used to go to Abu Dhabi, where they used to put the stickers on. Now, I'm not sure. I don't think it comes back to the UK yet. I think the centre that it goes to is in the Middle East. I think that's still the procedure at the moment, where they put the stickers on and then return it back to the visa centre. So you know when you get the email saying it's been processed, that's when the sticker's been placed by the Home Office and returned to the visa centre. So that's my understanding. So it wasn't being done in India or Pakistan. There was a central hub where they used to do it. Normally, it does take about a week or so for that to be sent back to the visa centre. But, you know, it doesn't take more than a week for it to come back to the visa centre after that email is received. So practically online form and then go back to the MP in 3 to 4 weeks. You might have to persevere. I think the decision is positive, but you're going to have to keep on pushing them. Thank you very much for your call. That takes us to the end of the first part of the show. We'll be back in the next couple of minutes. See you then. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to the Free Legal Advice Show on British Muslim TV. I'm your host, Ilyas Bulbulia. To speak to me live on air, please ring on the landline number that appears at the bottom of the screen. And if you want to send me a message with your legal questions, please do so on the mobile number that appears at the bottom of the screen. Okay, let's take our next caller who's been waiting a while. Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Brother, thank you for calling.
Thank you. I talked to you before, but I'm telephoning to see if you can give some advice.
No problem.
I really would like to have a carer from South America.
All right, I understand.
And my weekly income is £452.49.
Okay.
Because I'm retired now. I'm over 80 years old.
Okay.
And I wonder, can I use my income to invite him to come over here?
Okay.
To stay with me and to help me.
Okay.
If not, what steps can I take to get him to come over, and then worry how I can get him to stay?
Okay. So in terms of your income, the £452, how is that income made up? Is it pension income? Is it benefits? If you just give me a rough idea how it's made up.
It is my state pension.
Yep.
My occupation, my BT pension.
Right, okay.
My teacher's pension.
Okay, right.
My private insurance.
I understand.
And also my attendance allowance.
All right, okay.
And that total to £452.49.
Okay, I understand.
And if need be, I can get my son to
assist you as well.
A voluntary contribution.
I understand.
Weekly or monthly to top up my income.
Okay, understand. And in terms of the person that you want to sponsor to come to the UK, I mean, I don't know your personal circumstances. I don't want to pry too much, but is it simply a carer that you want to come over, or are you looking at? I don't know what your circumstances are. Are you looking at marriage and to call somebody else over on that basis?
That is a possibility. Marriage is a possibility.
Okay, right.
But ideally, I know the boy. He's 24 years old.
Yeah.
And I would like him to come and stay with me and to look after me.
Okay,
because
I understand.
To get somebody in England, you're looking at about £25 an hour.
I understand.
And I talked to someone today, some agency, and they want £850 a week.
I understand.
And I can't manage that. So if I can get the boy to come over here,
yeah,
whatever way I can get him, I do not know what other way I can get him to come over. Once he gets here, perhaps he might fall in love with someone. Perhaps somebody might like him, and they might want to marry him, and then maybe we can work on that way to get him to stay.
All right. Okay, look, the basic position is this, that as far as sponsoring somebody to come over as a carer, there's nothing in the immigration rules which allows for that. So there's no immigration category for a carer to come to the United Kingdom. So what most people do is they use the visitor route. So if somebody is unwell in the UK and their family want to come over to visit them and to look after them on a short-term basis, then what most people will do is to sponsor them as a visitor to come to the United Kingdom. They visit the family member here, and part and parcel of that, the visit would be to provide short-term care. The Home Office appears to be okay with that. So it's the category isn't a visitor category. Isn't carer category. It's the visitor category which is being used to call somebody over, a family member over. Now, so the fundamental problem is there isn't a carer category. So the person who's abroad couldn't apply for a visa saying, look, I just want to come to the UK to care for this person who's going to be my sponsor. They will look after me financially. They will provide accommodation for me. So I'm coming to essentially work as a carer. You won't get, he won't get a visa on that basis. Now, if he is able to come to the UK on some other basis, the requirements of which he is able to fulfill, then that's okay. For example, if he is able to come to the UK as a student and he wants to study, if he wants to come to the UK on a work permit or skilled worker visa, where there's a business that's prepared to sponsor him. So the person might qualify for a visa under another category, which allows him to come to the UK.
I don't think in the circumstances, because the boy can speak very good English, but he can't write and he doesn't know mathematics because he is an orphan.
Okay.
And one other reason for wanting to come is that I can help him as well, and he can help some of his family, his sisters.
I completely understand.
And if I can get him to come over for a holiday, then perhaps I can apply them to see if he can stay with me to look after me for temporary, maybe for 6 months or maybe a little bit more.
I mean, look, reality is this. If you want to try, you'd have to try under the visitor route. And you'd have to explain, look, I'm coming over, I want to visit, I want to look after my relative, family, friend, whatever, on a short-term basis. He could try applying for a visitor visa on that basis. Now, a lot of people, let me give you an example, slightly different to your situation. Let's say there's a family member, a lady who's about to give birth to a child, has difficulty looking after the children that she has and the baby that she's going to give birth to. So it's not unusual in that situation for the lady to say, look, I want my sister to come over, I want my mum to come over, visit me and to help look after me and my children. So in that sense, the Home Office is okay when somebody's coming to provide temporary help. They're okay with that.
Oh, I see. So that would be a good thing then. If I was hesitating to think like that, because if they know he's coming on a temporary basis, the immigration might turn around and say, oh no, we're not going to let him go. He can't go. But if that would be a good excuse, if that would be a good reason for him to come over here on a temporary basis, not only on a holiday, but to stay with me perhaps while my wife going to see her family in Pakistan, maybe. That might be a better reason for getting a visa.
Or for example, and I don't know your circumstances, let's say you've got somebody might say, come to visit the UK to see family, and if you're let's say you have an operation or something lined up, you could say, I'm going to provide temporary care. So it's those kind of temporary arrangements that the Home Office is okay with. But long-term care, there's no category for that at all.
And for somebody to get married, if let's say he comes over, and for him to get married to someone, it means he has to go back home and then apply to come as a
spouse.
Yeah.
Okay. So the general rule is that, it's what you say, that if you're here as a visitor, a short-term category, and you want to switch into a marriage visa, generally the position is you must go back to your home country, apply from there, and come to the UK. I say generally because currently, because of the problems with COVID-19, the Home Office has introduced some flexibility. So what the Home Office is saying is that they might be prepared to grant a visa within the UK if somebody is here as a visitor. It's a temporary concession to deal with the particular circumstances that we have. I suspect in the next 2-3 months, hopefully when things calm down, the Home Office will say, we're back to the old position where if you're here as a visitor, you found somebody, you still need to go back to your home country, apply for a normal spouse visa, and then come into the UK. But at the moment...
Last question. Would it be easier, you think, for him to come over? Let's say he talked to a girl that let's say he talked to the girl for about a month or two, and then he applied to come to see, to marry her. Would that be an easier way for him to get them to come over here?
Certainly, certainly in relation to the visitor visa route, it's not an easy route because the Home Office has a very high refusal rate for visitors. So it's not an easy route. The marriage route is much easier. The only snag here is that if he is talking to a lady here and there's a bit of a relationship going on, in order for him to come here, either as a fiancé or on the basis of marriage, you will have to show that both parties have physically met.
Oh, I see.
So, you know the current method at the moment where people will talk on, FaceTime or whatever else we have now, Snapchat, whatever it is. I'm too old, so I don't really understand how it works. So that doesn't help. The Home Office isn't prepared to accept that as the parties having met. So physically they must meet, whether it's in the boy's home country, whether it's in Dubai, somewhere else. So they need to meet, I'm afraid. That's the only way it works. But thank you very much for your call. Thank you very much.
I'm very grateful for you to talk to me and explaining so much in detail.
No problem at all. Thank you very much indeed for your call. Thank you. All the best. Okay, thank you for that call. Let's take our next call. Hello, Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
जी वालेकुम सलाम. Thank you for calling. What's your question?
जी मुझे पूछना था, मैं पाकिस्तान से एज अ स्टूडेंट यहाँ पे यूके में आई हुई हूँ.
जी ठीक है. ओके.
तो क्या डिग्री खत्म करने से पहले ही हम अपना स्टेटस चेंज कर सकते हैं वर्क परमिट में?
कर सकते हैं. अभी कर सकते हैं. पहले नहीं कर सकते थे. अभी होम ऑफिस ने क्या कहा है कि जो भी स्टूडेंट वीज़ा पे है या तो स्पाउस वीज़ा पे है, वो वर्क परमिट में या स्किल्ड वर्कर वीज़ा में अभी जा सकते हैं. डिग्री करने की ज़रूरत नहीं होती है. मगर एक फ़र्क है अंदर में. अगर आपने जो डिग्री जो कर लिया ना, तो इनकम आप थोड़ी सी कम भी बता सकते हैं. मगर जिसने डिग्री नहीं किया है उसको नॉर्मल फुल वेज बतानी पड़ती है. सो
कितने हैं इधर के?
नॉर्मली वो जॉब पे डिपेंड होता है कि जब आप जॉब करेंगे ना, तो वो जॉब की जो सैलरी है वो देखनी पड़ती है. सो एवरी जॉब के लिए डिफरेंट सैलरी रेट्स है. फॉर एग्जांपल अकाउंटेंट्स की डिफरेंट होगी, डॉक्टर्स की डिफरेंट होगी, मार्केटिंग एक्सपर्ट्स की डिफरेंट होगी. सो वो सैलरी पे थोड़ा सा फ़र्क पड़ सकता है. मगर आपका जो क्वेश्चन था ना कि डिग्री ख़त्म होने से पहले, ग्रेजुएशन से पहले आप स्किल्ड वर्कर में जा सकते हैं या नहीं? बिल्कुल जा सकते हैं. अभी वो जनवरी में उसने लॉ चेंज किया था. अब जा सकते हैं.
जा सकते हैं. तो ये कोई एग्जांपल नहीं देंगे मुझे कि सैलरी कितनी होनी चाहिए उसकी यहाँ पे आके?
नहीं, वो जा सकते हैं क्योंकि उसने अभी रेजिडेंट लेबर मार्केट टेस्ट भी निकाल दिया. वो उसने जो स्किल लेवल भी ड्रॉप कर दिया जॉब्स की, और वो इट्स मोर ईजी आप अंडर में जाना चाहते हैं. मगर ये है ना कि इतना ईजी नहीं है ना कि जो भी बिजनेस में आप काम करेंगे वहाँ आपको वो बिजनेस होम ऑफिस के साथ वो लाइसेंस्ड स्पॉन्सर होना चाहिए ना. सो वो भी उसको करना पड़ेगा. وہ آپ کو اسپانسر کریں گے نا. سو کپل آف اسٹیپس تو ہے اس میں, مگر آپ ٹرانسفر کر سکتے ہیں. اگر کوئی آپ کو بزنس مل جائے تو ڈیفینیٹلی وہ پروسیس آپ شروع کر لو.
جی مطلب کوئی مجھے اسپانسر کرے یہاں پہ بزنس مین تو پھر میں ہو سکتی ہوں.
پھر ہو سکتا ہے.
اگر میرے پاس ایسے کوئی مطلب اتنی اچھی جاب نہیں ہے, جیسے میں کسی ٹیک اوے یا کسی اسٹور پہ کام کر رہی ہوں.
آپ نا ایک سیکنڈ تھوڑی ہے, we're taking a short break. We're going to be back in the next couple of minutes. Inshallah, I'll speak to you after we come back from the break. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to the Free Legal Advice Show on British Muslim TV. I'm your host Ilyas Bulbulia. To speak to me live, please call on the landline number. And as always, if you want to send me a message with your question, you can do so on the mobile number. We've got a caller who's been waiting for a while, who I spoke to. Sorry, caller who's been waiting a while. Let me just go back to that caller. Hello, assalamu alaikum.
جی وعلیکم السلام.
جی سوری ہے, ہم نے تھوڑا سا بریک لینا تھا, اس لیے آپ کے ساتھ جو بات کرتے تھے ہم نے وہ کٹ کر دیا تھا. تو
جی میں نے یہی کہا تھا کہ اگر ہم یہاں کسی ٹیک اوے یا اسٹور پہ کام کر رہے ہیں تو کیا پھر بھی ہم اپنا چینج کر سکتے ہیں؟
کر سکتے ہیں, مگر ٹیک اوے میں کیا ہے کہ ٹیک اوے میں سرٹن جابس ہے جو ایکسیپٹیبل ہے, لائک فار ایگزامپل دا ٹیک اوے مینیجر. سو اسکل لیول لو ہے, مگر تب بھی اسکل لیول تو ہے جو آپ کو اس کی ریکوائرمنٹ سیٹسفائی کرنی پڑے گی. سو بالکل آپ یہ نہیں کہہ سکتے کہ میں کیشیئر کا کام کروں گا, یہ میں فون پک اپ کروں گا. ٹیک اوے میں اسکل لیول رائٹ ہونا چاہیے. سو ایز اے منیمم جو شاپس ہے, یو ہیو ٹو بی اے شاپ مینیجر اور دا ٹیک اوے مینیجر. وہ بھی وہ دیکھیں گے نا کہ کتنے بندے وہاں کام کرتے ہیں. سو اٹس گوٹ بی این اوکے بزنس, 4-5 پیپل امپلائڈ ہے, تھوڑا سا بزنس ہے, تو ایز اے مینیجر اسکل لیول رائٹ ہوگی. سو اٹس ناٹ دا کیس کہ اینی جاب از اوکے, اسکل لیول رائٹ ہونی چاہیے وہ جاب کے لیے.
جی
ٹھیک ہے نا,
ٹھیک ہے. اور یہ میری ایک فرینڈ نے بھی بات کرنی ہے, میں کروا سکتی ہوں؟
جی ٹھیک ہے, آلرائٹ, نو پرابلم. جی ہلو.
ہلو السلام علیکم.
جی وعلیکم السلام. جی
مجھے پوچھنا تھا کہ میں بھی اسٹوڈنٹ ہوں, یہیں پہ اسٹوڈنٹ ویزا پہ آئی ہوں, لیکن میں پریگننٹ بھی ہوں. تو پھر بیبی کی برتھ کے بعد میرے لیے کوئی آسانی ہوگی؟
جی
اس کیس میں آپ کیا ریفر کرتے ہیں؟
جی آپ جو پریگننٹ ہے نا ابھی, تو آپ کا جو پارٹنر ہے وہ اس کا سٹیزن شپ اسٹیٹس کیا ہے؟ وہ برٹش
نہیں, وہ پاکستان میں ہے. ان کا ڈیپینڈنٹ کے ایز اے ڈیپینڈنٹ اپلائی کیا تھا, لیکن آج صبح سے وہ پھر ویزے ریجیکٹ ہو کے آ رہے تھے پاکستان میں, تو کنسلٹنٹ نے ان کا پھر کیس جو ہے وہ وڈرا کر دیا.
ٹھیک ہے. اصل میں پرابلم اس میں کیا ہے کہ آپ کے بیبی کے بیسس پہ, بیکاز بیبی برٹش تو نہیں ہے نا, سو آپ کے بیبی کے بیسس پہ آپ کو وہ ویزا نہیں دیں گے یو کے میں. سو بیبی کے بیسس پہ آپ کی ویزا چینج نہیں کر سکتے, کیونکہ اگر بیبی برٹش ہے تو اس کے بیسس پہ کر سکتے ہیں, مگر بیبی آپ کی جو پاکستانی نیشنل ہی ہوگی تو اس کے بیسس پہ آپ ویزا چینج نہیں کر سکتے یو کے میں. سو آپ کا سچویشن بھی سیم ہوگا کہ اگر آپ کوئی اور کیٹیگری میں جا سکتے ہیں, ورک پرمٹ ایسا کچھ, تو وہ کر سکتے ہیں, مگر بیبی کے بیسس پہ آپ کو ویزا نہیں دیں گے یو کے میں.
اچھا نہیں, بیبی کا اسٹیٹس کیا ہوگا؟ بیبی پھر موو کر سکتا ہے برتھ کے بعد کسی اور کنٹری میں جا؟
نہیں, تو بیبی کا کیا ہے کہ یو کے میں جو بیبیز بورن ہوتے ہیں نا, وہ بائی برتھ برٹش نہیں ہوتے. سو بیبی کا اسٹیٹس کیا ہوتا ہے کہ اگر آپ بیبی کے ساتھ یو کے میں 10 ایئرس رہے تو 10 ایئرس کے بعد اس کو برٹش نیشنلٹی مل سکتی ہے. 10 ایئرس کے بعد, وہ 10 ایئرس سے پہلے بیبی کا اسٹیٹس ہے
5 ایئرس
نہیں, وہ اسٹیٹ لیسنس ہے نا, وہ انڈیا کے لیے ابھی چل رہا ہے, پاکستان کے لیے نہیں چلتا ہے. اسٹیٹ لیسنس کا ایک لا ہے, مگر پاکستان کو وہ اپلائی نہیں ہوتا. سو بیبی کا کیا ہے کہ 10 ایئرس کے بعد اس کو نیشنلٹی ملتی ہے. پرائر ٹو 10 ایئرس وہ اس کا ویزا اسٹیٹس آپ جیسا ہی ہوتا ہے. 7 ایئرس کے بعد آپ 7 ایئر رول میں ٹرائی کر سکتے ہیں, مگر اپ انٹل دین آپ کے پاس جیسے ٹیمپری ویزا ہے, اس کی بھی ٹیمپری ویزا ہی ہوگی بیبی کی.
Okay, thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you آپ کا کال کے لیے. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So we've had a couple of callers in who've asked questions in Urdu. Very quickly, let me just summarize what I've said. The first call that came in from the lady whose call I took just before the break. Lady's here on a student visa, and the primary question was, from a student visa, before you've completed your course, before you've graduated, can you transfer into the skilled worker visa, into the work permit visa? And the answer to that is yes, you can transfer from a student visa into the skilled worker visa even before you've completed your course. The second lady, her question was in relation to her her baby status. She is here as a student, about to give birth to a baby. The baby wouldn't be a British citizen because the father is also a Pakistani national. Mum is a Pakistani national who's going to give birth to the baby. And I was explaining that by birth in the UK, the child would not be British by birth. The way nationality works is nationality is passed down from parents. So you look at the nationality of the parents. The lady who's here as a student is a Pakistani national. The father is a Pakistani national. So the nationality which would normally be passed down would be a Pakistani nationality. The child would not be British. There is a possibility if the child lives in the UK for 10 years, then after 10 years, the child could potentially apply for British nationality. Hope that answers the question. As always, if you want to speak to me live, you can ring on the landline number, or please, as always, continue to send your messages to me on the WhatsApp number. That's at the bottom of the screen. We've got a number of WhatsApp questions, and I do need to go through them very quickly. One of the first questions that came in, which I touched upon, was in relation to a question relating to somebody who's an Indian passport holder, an Indian national. What can they do to settle here in the UK? Now, in practice, there are only very limited grounds on which you can settle in the UK. You can come to the UK as a visitor. Obviously, that doesn't lead to settlement. But if you come to the UK on a spouse visa, that leads to settlement after 5 years. If you come on a work permit, skilled worker visa, that leads to settlement after 5 years. Student visa doesn't lead to settlement. So very limited categories under which you can get settlement. Okay, let's take our next call. Hello, assalamu alaikum.
हेलो अस्सलाम वालेकुम
जी वालेकुम सलाम जी भाई थैंक यू फॉर कॉलिंग
सर मैं वाजिद बात कर रहा हूँ लंदन से
ओके जी जी भाई
एक्चुअली सर प्रॉब्लम ये है कि तकरीबन 2 साल पहले मैंने असylum डाला था यहाँ पे लंदन में
ओके
तो वो रिजेक्ट हो गया और उसके बाद मैंने फर्दर सबमिशन नहीं डाला लेकिन अब ये है कि मेरे सर्कमस्टांसेस चेंज हो गए हैं इसलिए कि अब मेरी बेटी जो है वो अब माशाल्लाह 6 साल की हो चुकी है और बेटा मेरा 3 साल का है और मेरी वाइफ भी पाकिस्तानी है और मैं भी पाकिस्तानी हम लोग ब्रिटिश नहीं है अब मैं चाहता हूँ कि मैं फर्दर सबमिशन डालूं और इस बेस पे क्या ये पॉसिबल है कि मैं अगर फर्दर सबमिशन डाल दूं मेरे हक में कुछ बेहतरी हो सकती है इसमें
ओके इसमें यह है ना कि जब बेबी की एज 7 इयर्स होगी 7 इयर्स
जी
वो टाइम में आप सबमिशंस डालना चाहिए अभी प्रॉब्लम क्या है कि अभी डालेंगे ना एट द एज ऑफ 6 तो द बेबी 7 ईयर का जो रूल है 7 years residence for a child under the age of 18 वो 7 year residence के रूल में अभी नहीं आ सकती क्योंकि उसका 6 years ही हुआ है ना तो आप वेट करो जब उसका 7 years हो जाता है at that stage आप डाल दो तो even 7 years में थोड़ा सा 50-50 है sometimes वो दे देते हैं sometimes वो नहीं देते हैं आपको अपील देते हैं which is fine अगर अपील दिया तो आप अपील में चले जाएंगे by the time अपील होगी सब होगा baby will be 8.5 years old so अगर इसमें भी आप सक्सेसफुल नहीं है तो the law which says कि if a child was born in the UK and has lived in the UK for 10 years तो उसके बाद the child is able to apply for nationality तो वो लॉ में आ जाएंगे at the age of 10 so आपको है ना अब जो करेंगे ना वो स्टेप बाय स्टेप करना है इसमें अभी अप्लाई ना करो
सर सॉरी मैं आपकी बात कर रहा हूँ प्रॉब्लम ये है कि तकरीबन मुझे 2 दिन पहले NHS की तरफ से एक मेल आई थी इसलिए कि मैं आई एम अ डायबिटिक पेशेंट है सो मुझे NHS की तरफ से एक मेल आई कि हमने कंसल्ट किया है होम ऑफिस के साथ और हमने ये देखा है कि आपका जो स्टेटस है वो खत्म हो चुका है तो काइंडली आप जो है वो सारे जो पेमेंट्स हैं वो अपनी क्लियर करना शुरू करें तो मैंने उनको रिप्लाई किया कि ओके फाइन आई विल पे यू but the only problem is they said okay fine if you want to pay us but further first you have to tell us about your status send us the BRP card or even any home office new application number reference number or anything देन फर्दर हम आगे चलेंगे। अब मैं इस वजह से परेशान हो रहा हूँ कि मेरे पास तो होम ऑफिस की कोई ऐसी फर्दर एप्लीकेशन नहीं है और ना ही मेरे पास बीएमटी कार्ड है।
ओके, लुक,
तो इस वजह से मैं सोच रहा हूँ कि ऐसा मैं कर सकूँ, अभी कर लूँ कि मुझे कुछ टाइम मिल जाए।
ओके, नो प्रॉब्लम। अगर इस वजह से आप फर्दर सबमिशंस डालना चाहते हो तो डाल दो, मगर आपका प्रॉब्लम क्या है कि वो फर्दर सबमिशंस डालेंगे ना, तब भी एनएचएस वाले उसका पोजीशन चेंज नहीं करेंगे। वो
नहीं, वो प्रॉब्लम नहीं है। मैं ये चाह रहा हूँ कि अगर वो मैं उनको कुछ दिखा दूं कि हाँ यार ये मेरी फर्दर सबमिशन है, आप बोलो अब मुझे कितना पे करना है, इज इट पॉसिबल? ऐसा हो सकता है
जी? 100%। क्यों आप फर्दर सबमिशंस डाल सकते हैं। मैं सिर्फ ये कहता हूँ कि अभी आप अगर फर्दर सबमिशंस अभी डाल देंगे ना और उसने अगर रिफ्यूज कर दिया, इट्स फाइन, तो आप फिर दोबारा भी डाल सकते हैं ना, जब चाइल्ड की एज 7 हो जाएगी तो दोबारा भी डाल सकते हैं। ये नहीं है ना कि अभी डाला तो उसका अभी डाल ही नहीं सकेंगे दोबारा। अभी अगर डालना हो एनएचएस के लिए तो आप डाल दो अभी, फिर जब बेबी की एज कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है। जब बेबी की एज 7 होगी तो आप तो अगर यहाँ ही आप तो फिर at the age do it again, वो भी ठीक है। कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है इसमें, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, कोई नेगेटिव इम्पैक्ट नहीं है आपका केस पे।
इसमें नेगेटिव इम्पैक्ट नहीं पड़ता। मतलब मैं फर्दर सबमिशन में उनको ये डालना चाहता हूँ कि मेरी बेटी अब जो स्कूल जा रही है, उसके कुछ सर्टिफिकेट्स हैं, तमाम चीजें।
मैं जो आपको कहता ना कि इससे आप जीत नहीं सकते, वो at the age of 6 नहीं देंगे, मगर आपका मकसद ये है एनएचएस को बताने के लिए है तो डाल दो। कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं, आप डाल सकते हैं, अलाउड है।
अच्छा, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं। थैंक यू सो मच मिस्टर इलियास।
नो प्रॉब्लम। ओके वाजिब, थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर योर कॉल। ओके, अल्लाह हाफिज़। So the brother was asking about the process for submitting fresh submissions, and what the current position is that there's a child here who's 6 years old, born here 6 years old, and we were looking at the merits of where your asylum application has been refused, looking at the merits of making fresh submissions based on having a child who's lived in the UK for 6 years, obviously grown up in the UK. And my advice was, at the age of 7, when the child has lived in the UK for 7 years, you potentially come within the immigration rules where a child under the age of 18 has lived in the UK for 7 years can potentially get a visa under the 7-year rule. So my advice was, at the age of 7, potentially you qualify for a visa. If you want to submit an application prior to that, now when the child is only 6, you can do that. There's no negative impact on your case. I mean, if it assists with the queries being raised by NHS, you can do that. It doesn't have a negative impact on the case, but the reality is that those fresh submissions at this stage, when the child is only 6 and not 7, won't result in a visa being granted. It's only when the child reaches the age of 7, when the child's been in the UK for 7 years, that there's a possibility of a visa being granted on the basis of the child's 7-year residence. It's a 7-year rule which you normally have to satisfy in order to get a visa in the UK. So hope that answers the question. We've got a number of questions which have come in on WhatsApp, and I do apologize to our viewers if I haven't managed to get to your question yet. We're going to be taking a short break. After we come back, we'll look at some of these questions in greater detail. We'll be back in the next couple of minutes. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to the free legal advice show on British Muslim TV. To speak to me live on air, you can give me a ring on the landline number that appears at the bottom of the screen. And as always, if you want to send me a WhatsApp message, text message, you can do that on the mobile number that appears at the bottom of the screen. Let's just go to the questions that have come in on WhatsApp. Slightly long question that came in around the time we started the show. Let me read the question out and then let's go into it in a bit of detail. So the question that's been posed by our viewer is as follows. We are doctors from Burma coming here to take the PLAB2 test. Our visa is running out on the 28th of July 2021. As you may know, the condition in Myanmar is really dangerous. It's difficult for us to go back as the military coup is targeting doctors. Is it possible to extend our visa? could you guide us on that issue? So we've got doctors from Burma who are here to take the PLAB-2 test. The PLAB-2 test is the qualification that foreign doctors are required to complete before they can apply for GMC registration. Now, a couple of options I see here for you. One easy option would be, if you manage to pass the PLAB-2 test, you get your GMC registration. I don't know how long it's taking to get the GMC registration, but let's say you pass the PLAB-2 test, you're able to get your GMC registration. If you're able to get sponsorship from an employer in the UK, at this current time, you would be able to extend your visa within the UK from your current PLAB-2 visa, which is normally a visitor visa. So from your PLAB-2 visa, you could go into work permit visa if you can get things done quickly. Your PLAB-2 test done, your GMC registration, and an offer of employment. You could do it. If you're running out of time, there is a way of getting a bit more time. So that may be a possibility, but that only works if you can go into skilled worker employment. The alternative would be asylum, but I think carefully about going down that route. If you can get into the work permit route, I would really look at that first. The other alternative would be, if you want to study, you try and move into another visa category to give you more time to get into the skilled worker category. As a last resort, you'd look at the asylum category. As always, it's a slightly complex matter. If you want to speak to me, if you leave your number with the control room, or if you take my number from the control room, I will have a more in-depth discussion with you to go through your options. Maybe it matters a bit complex to do that live on air. Okay, let's take the next call. Caller's been waiting for a while. Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam, sir. I'm on a state pension, okay, and I get a pension credit, okay, and assistance allowance, which works up to £616. Okay. And I'm just, I was wondering if it is good enough to bring my wife over to UK.
I understand.
I'm a UK subject.
Okay. Just, in terms of the income that you listed to begin with, I think you said you're on state pension.
That's right.
And the second
pension credit. That's right, sir.
And it's the third item, which I wasn't quite able to catch. Did you say attendance allowance? That's what I was trying to work out, attendance allowance. Yeah. Okay. So what's the total weekly income? Just a rough guide. What's the total weekly income?
Sorry, total weekly?
The weekly income, yeah. Or if it's easier for you, give me the monthly income.
Which works up to £616.84.
The £668. Is that the weekly or the monthly? Okay. Is that the weekly or the monthly?
Monthly.
Monthly. Okay. So, yep, that's fine. Now, in terms of accommodation, do you have to pay rent or mortgage or anything like that?
Yes, I'm paying £20. £20 to rent. It's a council place.
Okay. So £20 a week you are paying, are you?
That's right, sir.
£20 a week. So it's about just under £100. Okay.
That's right.
And how much do you pay in terms of council tax?
I think it's probably zero.
Okay, that's fine.
I think so.
I understand. And I think I know what the answer to this is, but I need to ask anyway. Do you have any children under the age of 18 who are dependent on you?
No, none at all.
None at all. Okay, that's fine. Look, with your income, what you need to show, because you're in receipt of attendance allowance, it does help you. What you need to show is an income of about £120 a week, approximately.
Okay.
In addition to that, I think you're paying about £5 a week rent. So about £125 a week, which equates to about £550, £560 a month in income you need. And this lower income requirement applies to you because you're receiving attendance allowance. Normally, I'd say you need to be earning £18,600 per annum. But that doesn't apply to you because you're in receipt of attendance allowance. So because you're in receipt of attendance allowance, there is still a certain amount of money that you need to be receiving. For a couple, the living costs for a couple plus the minimal amount that you pay towards rent, all combined in your situation comes up to around £550, £560 a month. Now, your income based on state pension, pension credit and attendance allowance exceeds that. So financially, there isn't a problem for you to sponsor your wife to come to the UK. Financially, there's no problem. Now, obviously, there are other requirements that need to be satisfied. You need to have met the lady who you're wanting to sponsor to the UK, physically met. You need to register your marriage properly. She will need to pass the English test. She will need to pass the TB test. You will need a housing report from the UK. So there are other requirements which need to be fulfilled, which hopefully aren't that difficult. But in terms of your main question about finances, you're okay on finances. That's not something that you need to worry about, your finances.
That sounds good.
Okay. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for...
No problem at all.
No problem. May Allah bless you with all the good things in this world. You're a great help.
Jazakallah.
Look after yourself.
Yeah, thank you very much for your kind words. Thank you. Jazakallah for that. Ameen. Thank you very much. So if later on, if you are considering pursuing the matter further, if you've got any more questions, please do feel free to come back to me and ask me those questions. But financially, mashallah, it looks to me like you can tick that box. We've had a number of other questions that have come in on WhatsApp as well. Interesting question that just come in on nationality applications, and in particular regarding the allowed absences from the UK in the 12 months prior to submitting the application. Now, when you submit a nationality application, there is a requirement that you can't have been absent from the UK for more than a certain number of dates. In the last 12 months, the absence limit is 100 days. So the Home Office will, generally speaking, allow you to be absent from the UK for up to 100 days. If you're absent from the UK for more than 100 days, generally speaking, your nationality application will be refused. So 2 points I want to make on this. If you can wait a little longer so that your absence falls within the 100-day requirement, you can do that. There is a new guidance document which has just come out on absences, where what they're saying is, as far as immigration is concerned, visa applications are concerned, if you've been away for a long time because of a COVID-related absence, we will ignore that. I'll look at that in greater detail and answer that question next week. Inshallah, we'll be back next week on Tuesday at 8 o'clock. See you then.